not being a part of the decision committee to pick
No,
the.
I wasn't.
I was a part of this one.
Yeah.
But
Jan Barber did these. She had them all done for us.
she had them done, but we picked out the
Right.
fabric. But, and I remember coming in and saying,
Anything about Jan. I can't find anything.
oh, I
And I
don't,
don't know or remember either Katrina or what's the other one, Terry.
I don't know, I think there was
Last
a Terry.
names. But one of them at least is in Laurel. We probably ought to get out.
You're good.
because
I'm interviewing you already.
announcements. I mean, appointments, right?
So-
Our appointment's not
When you
till-
look at these, what do these make you think of? Or what do you, what does this emote in you?
The vast history.
Well, and it's just, it's, I love seeing the people that still come to the church and that we know from that. But it sort of breaks my heart a little bit to see people that are gone, not
Like Forrest.
just, you know, that have passed away.
Yeah.
That's kind of bittersweet. And then people that have moved away and retired and gone elsewhere.
Yeah, a lot of those
Is that Forrest
in
Bethune?
50 years. It's
Yeah,
Forrest.
yeah.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
Remember when she
Yeah.
fell off the stage?
Oh God,
Oh.
she broke both hips at this church.
Yeah.
One down the hall, and the other she fell off. She programmed herself. She was so worried. She had to be up. She was doing something. I don't know.
I
She
think it
was
was
so
liturgist.
worried about falling down those stairs. It's like she programmed herself, and she goes boom. And I'm of course sitting there, and I've never moved so fast in my life. I was flum over there, and I was going to help her up. She said, I can't get, I can't get up. So I just went, we are going to need an ambulance, at which
Yeah.
point this was
Crazy.
that
During
was
service.
kind of an exciting service. And then we came for Strawberry Festival, and she fell out down there somewhere and
Yeah.
broke the other one.
Do you know this, the thing that I remember, which is nothing to do with falling down the steps, but Paul was preaching this very serious service, and down from the skylight, a spider was spinning his web, and it became so obvious, and you looked around, and I remember looking around, and Paul is preaching, and he's not aware, but all of us are just staring at this big spider coming down, and as it got to about 5 feet off of the ground, the web broke, and the whole congregation went, oh no! Paul sort of, what? And then it was like, people were getting up trying to find the spider to help it. and then pretty soon somebody saw the spider and goes, oh, he's alive, he's alive!
Originally,
Was it Easter Sunday?
when we
It would have been more than perfect, but I don't think
were
it
in the
was.
undercroft, right above the altar, such as it was, the preaching, the pulpit, the toilet flushed. So that was always part of,
Right.
That's that we knew that Paul was on his way.
exactly.
He comes running down the stairs.
Call to worship.
That was it.
That was it.
I remember when
Oh, look.
we left the basement and came up to first time in here, so we all carried our chairs.
The folding
from-
chairs,
The folding
we
chairs
carried
up
up.
from down there.
It was
We didn't have these
symbolic.
chairs yet, so.
No, we did have these chairs.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah, we
But
left the
it was
folding
just-
chairs out there.
It was symbolic. We were
Yeah,
carrying
and
them up.
then, but
Look at
anyway,
that.
we all came up here in our first time in 1978.
Wow, Joe didn't miss.
So what would your life be like if you hadn't created Oakland?
Would have been,
Completely
I
different.
can't even fathom a life without Oakland's.
No.
I mean, Cal and I'm a little smidgen younger than Galen, and we were in our super early 20s when we started coming here. So for my entire really adult life has been centered around this church.
I was 26 when we started this, and I'm the last person left from the original organizing committee. I'm 83 now, so I stayed with it.
Yeah. So you were here before you two?
Before we were here on the first
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
The first Sunday the church met, but Galen was a part of working with the presbytery to organize the church.
This is a little bit of the history, if you'd like that.
Yeah.
This was a growing area out here, and the Council of Churches, apparently, I think I've got this right, assigned different areas to different denominations to put churches. Presbyterians got this area, Presbytery got this area. They called Dick Stroll from Pennsylvania, somewhere. He took the job, an organizing pastor. And what he did was he called churches in the area. I was going to Berwyn Presbyterian at the time, and some people came from Silver Spring. He called pastors and asked them if they had congregants from Laurel. And he called us, and he said, we're starting this new church, are you interested in being part of it? And so I went to the first organizing meeting, at which I said, I'll handle the music.
50 years
The
later.
rest is history.
And for us, we lived in Fox Rest Apartments, and one day we were leaving, and there was a little postcard on the mail where you picked up your mail saying that there was gonna be a church starting across the parking lot in the gymnasium, a Presbyterian church. And so I was Baptist and Cal was
United Brethren.
United Brethren. So we figured, well, Presbyterian, that would be fine. It was just such a long word that that's the reason I never was gonna be a Presbyterian. Too many letters. But so several of the people that we were friends with in the apartments said, well, let's all go. So we all went over on the first Sunday, and during the week, the minister, Dick Stroll, came to our apartment and visited, and at the end of the conversation, I was superintendent of Sunday school and the Sunday school teacher, but the only kids in the Sunday school were well, no, we didn't have kids.
any yet. They were loose, yeah, well.
Right.
they-
No, it was Dick's kids.
Yeah.
It was just
Dick's kids
Dick's
He had
four
four
boys.
boys.
Yeah, we're all preacher kids' boys.
And when the first time we went to the church, she heard me singing in the congregation, and the next week I was in the choir.
Isn't that how it always works at churches?
Well, very early on too, we had to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, like we all had to take our turns cleaning the church on a Saturday.
Well,
and-
when we were here, well, especially here in the
Yeah.
gym, we didn't have to.
Yeah,
so
well, not
much,
there,
but-
right, but after
but
we
came
got here, yeah. Because when we got, Presbytery purchased this building, we didn't have anything to do with it. And it was a house, of course, and it was not even for sale. They just approached the people and said, would you be willing to sell this? Because it had the amount of acreage that we had to have for parking and expansion and whatever. So, that's, eventually we moved into the house from the gym
Right.
at Fox Rest, and then began, and for a long time, we worshiped first in the living room, and then we went
To the
to
basement.
the basement, and we
Which
had
was named, we referred to it as the basement until Paul Anderson came, and he didn't like going to the basement, so we went to the same space, but it was miraculously then called the Undercroft.
yeah.
So it was like, oh, well, it does sound so much more classy.
It was.
And we met down there until 1978 when this sanctuary was built. And that was built in 78, and then the education wing was built in 1998. And so we had,
But of course, and for years, we were all young couples. I gave birth to the first baby in this church.
I gave birth to the second.
There we go. Not too long after.
Not a competition.
No, not at all.
But they're really close together
That's
in
right.
age.
And they were good friends for a
Yes.
long time too.
Good.
And, you know, and that was nice. But of course, it was easy, for instance, for me to have a children's choir because it was all young people with children, you know, the youngs
right.
and, you know, folks that came along. And, so, you know, we had a big Sunday school, because we had all these very young families. Some of whom are still here.
That's right.
you know,
Who the young families that were here are still here?
Well, Lucy
Lucy.
Young and her husband and kids came early on.
they came in the first, after the first year.
Connie was a baby, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gene and Ken Curry have moved, but you know.
They're still Oakland's adjacent.
Exactly, exactly.
Eventually
Yeah.
Tony Powell, eventually Mary Campbell, and
Right.
Jeff
their
Burns.
families, and
Jeff has been here for a long time.
Linda Sholin,
Yeah,
and Danny was very small
Right.
when we started, you know. And then eventually people like, you know, the Carlson girls, Allison and Amy, and just lots and lots of wonderful others.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Coleman.
Yep.
And
Danielle.
Danielle, and eventually, of course, the Coleman family's still here, so that's nice.
it's interesting watching, you know, talking about the kids and everything, watching them grow up and our firstborns, are in their mid-50s, mid to late 50s now. I mean, that's crazy. You know, it's watching them grow and become adults, and many of them have come back. I mean, Allison Carlson
Right.
has come back, and we knew her as a little, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
But it's been so great for me to watch how the church has evolved into what it is today. I love it. It's, you know, it's fun to talk about the past and to reminiscent about the past, but I'm really excited about the future and the now
Yeah.
with how the church has become. The one thing I've always loved about Oakland's is that it seems like family, and I think that's
Oh, it is
we've
family.
always felt that maybe you don't like everybody in your family, but you love everybody in your family, and it's really nice to see how our family has grown and evolved, but it's got the same character, the same
Yeah.
feelings that it had, welcoming
Yeah.
feelings. I hope that
Inclusive
people feel
and
welcome
like
and definitely
I've always
inclusive.
liked a lot.
Yeah.
My sons, who live in the greater area, but not close, still have extremely warm feelings about Oakland's and all the
Yeah.
people that, that taught them Sunday school and were elders and grew up, they grew up with, they're still friends with some of them.
Yeah.
You
What
know,
does-
our sons that live in Seattle, two of them still call Oakland's their church.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they don't go
they
to
do.
church.
They don't go to any church,
They-
but
No,
they-
but
exactly.
if they had to name a church, they would name Oakland's.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
The other, so on a somewhat related manner, when a former member visited the church on Sunday, and afterwards we all went out for lunch and he joined us, and he said he's been at the church that he's going to now for, 15, 16
At least,
years
I
or
think,
something.
I think, yeah.
He says, but I always still think of Oakland's as my spiritual home. And I hear that from a lot of people that have attended Oakland's and have gone elsewhere by moving or
Moved
things,
away, yeah.
but still have a connection here and I think it's because it's more like family than.
Right, we've always, all of us, cared for each other in and out of the church, of the church, so she's right, we do behave like family.
The good and the bad.
The good and the, yeah, well, right, I mean, as families come with baggage too. And as I said, you don't always like the people in your family, but you always love them. And that's pretty important.
So you all are not like ignorant to the fact that Oakland's is in a tough spot. We've been pretty candid about that.
Everybody's in this tough
Yeah.
spot, we're not by ourselves, we're not
No,
outliers.
not at all.
Everyone's recouping and
The world
regrouping
has
and
changed.
Yeah.
putting it all
Yeah.
back together.
No, we are very aware of that.
We'd like to see more people come back into the
Yeah.
church.
Physically into the
Physically
church.
into the church,
We
'cause
know we have to
miss
keep
seeing
it
them.
soon, you know.
Right.
We know we have to keep the Zoom because now we have members in Pittsburgh and
Yeah.
other places. So we know we have to keep that, but we'll be real happy when more folks come back
When
in
they're
person.
when the people that are
Sunday.
local are more comfortable,
Yeah.
because I loved Zoom when that was our option.
Yeah.
I liked Zoom this past week last week when Cal was ill and we couldn't go to church.
Right.
It was nice to have that option. But it's so more meaningful to be here in person. You visit your friends and you visit your family on Zoom, and that's great, but it doesn't,
It's not the same as physically.
it's not the same. I'm feeling comfortable. I know that the plague is gonna be with us for a while, but I feel comfortable giving hugs to people and getting hugs. I missed hugs. I missed hugs a lot, and it's nice sitting here and listening to us sing. It's really good, and I just, as we were saying, that if more people would come back, it would be better. It'll never be the
What it was.
same as it was, but what I don't think will be different is the thing that I consider is the most important, which is the love and caring and welcoming that we have. So,
So y'all come back.
Yeah, come on back, come
So
see
we
us.
need you.
I think we're gonna survive. We're a strong family.
What does the future of Oaklands look like? That's what you said you were excited about, is the future of Oaklands in the now. So what does that look like to you all?
I think it's gonna, that's a tough question because there has to be a future. I'm enthused about seeing the little ones coming to the church to see. We don't have a lot of teenagers right now and middle school kids, but I love seeing the 3 and the 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds here. So I'm seeing a future. I'm seeing younger people. Coming to well, of course, almost anybody's younger than us.
Then, yeah. I'm probably the oldest member.
So when I say a younger
Not
person,
only the oldest living member, probably.
no, that's not true.
Oh, okay.
No, Jan's older than you. So, but
I'll edit that part out.
no, she knows she's older.
I'm not saying anything you can't leave in here.
So when I say younger, I mean people that are under 60, but there are people that are in their 30s and 40s, and I imagine even younger. I have to imagine it because I don't know. It's just great. It's great, and they're the youngsters are stepping up and
Yes.
taking over
Yes.
leadership.
Yes.
That's exciting to see.
That's important.
To see you and Allison and Bernie and Sarah, and I get Betsy, and I can go on and on.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave anybody out that are taking over leadership roles, and yay team, because for a while there it was a little scary that we were going to be run by octogenarians, and
Not that we couldn't have done a wonderful job.
but we're tired.
Do you still feel seen and heard here at
I'm
Oaklands?
sorry.
Do you still feel seen and heard and valued here at Oaklands? Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
feel like your opinion and your voice
Yes.
is still seen and
Yes.
heard?
Yes.
We would not allow it not to be.
We're not
We are
exactly.
not quite
We're
quiet
not quite
people.
the doddering old, we're not gonna pay attention people. No.
No,
We're,
no.
we're still here.
Yeah, no, we're loud and proud.
She's got it.
So,
I feel like that's a running theme of Oakland's, loud and proud.
well, it's what it is, because that's who we attract.
Not just the rainbow proud, but all of the
Oh,
loud.
no. But Jeffy, I don't compartmentalize the people that come here and I know that's not what you meant when you said that.
Yeah.
I don't look and say, oh, we have the LGBTQ people, we have the people from Africa, we have this group of people, we have the old people, we have the young people. It doesn't seem like it seems like we're all saying one big happy family.
I agree. I don't have that. Everybody's looking at me like the old woman of the place. I don't have that
No.
feeling at all.
No, I don't. I think we're really, really lucky that we have so many flavors in our soup.
Go ahead.
For me, in all the years, because I was music director for so long, that has always been my focus, of folks in the adult choir, the children's choirs, the whatever. So, of course, as part of the whole congregation and all the different things that we do, that, of course, has always been my main focus.
Can I, is that
Go ahead.
Whether this gets used or not, so we did the CAT scan, again, and,
Come over
as,
here so they're
yeah,
looking at this way.
so we just had our interpretation for the CAT scan, which is really a very, we flummoxed the expert. Just leave it to Oakland's to do. And one of our critical success factors across all demographics is music right now, a dissatisfaction with music, which makes sense. I mean, I'm kind of,
There isn't any.
there's music. So I don't want to discount what Karen's doing, and we are doing
Oh, no.
some. Where do we go from here? Looking at the three of you, where do we go from here?
We've got two choir people.
And an appreciation of a person who's appreciated music
Right.
from a worshiper.
Yeah, I wish we could get back into, the choral group, like we had before. Won't be the same without Galen directing us, but
Well, I'm
yeah,
looking
we've-
around for some places I can substitute direct. I'm dying to direct.
yeah.
And I'm looking
but
around for some
we've,
other churches so I can sub and do that.
Music has
because
always
I'm
been
really in the mood.
a big portion of our church, is singing
And most of the people that have been coming on
Right,
Sundays
Right.
pretty much are choir members. I'm sitting there and think, I don't even want to sing out because I feel like I'm in the choir and I have no right to be in the choir because I don't have.
I don't sit next to Linda on Sunday because she feels intimidated. There's no reason for that.
No.
No, there's reasons. There's reasons. You're too nice to say, but, no, because and one thing you're not recording this.
You're
We
good.
are now. We can-
It's fine, don't worry about it. Just
Oh.
keep talking. I can edit anything out there.
In your sermon when you were saying about the Frozen Chosen that didn't clap, and I'm thinking, I never clap in time to the song because it's not that I'm frozen and or chosen, it's that I have no sense of rhythm, and I will start clapping along, and I'll look around, and I'm not in time with anybody else.
Right.
So I try
There's
to
a reason
sway
that is a modicum, a descriptor. Just we got to be careful about not applying that.
I'm careful about it. I'm not a big clapper either, but partly because one of the things that always concerns me in terms of music, and I really don't like congregational applause. It's not a performance.
Right.
It's worship. And that has always bothered me when
Yeah.
people make a distinction. If something, to me, because
Yeah.
I'm much
Yep.
more classically trained and traditionally
Yeah.
brought up, I don't like clapping for something that was part of the worship. It
Right.
Yeah,
wasn't,
but
shouldn't have
sometimes-
been a
And
performance.
then moving over into clapping with the music
Yeah.
is that makes sense.
I might tap my feet and move back and forth a little bit,
Yeah.
but I tend not to clap. So
Yeah.
it's just me.
I understand what you're saying. I think that if somebody's just feeling it and wants to clap.
Oh, I don't
that-
care. Anybody else can clap.
that's
I don't
joyful.
care. It's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And not doing clapping as a habit of, good, well done, good performance
Yeah.
as a consumer model. I get that.
Right.
Yeah. So where do you see? You okay if I just?
Mhm.
Where have you experienced? Jesse asked this in a way too, like the holy, the God. Like where in Oakland's has that sense of God is in this place? Where have you felt that or
I
experienced?
just go back to the music, the choir, the conducting, the wonderful pianists we've had over
Yeah.
the years.
Yeah.
For me, it's it's just looking around the room, looking around the sanctuary and seeing people and feeling, I always refer to it as the warm fuzzies, where I just feel like if I were a cat, I would purr. This huge peace and contentment and comes over me that I just look around and it's like every worry that I've had seems to quiet down, and I find that a religious experience, but not with a capital R, but just
Holy.
a holy experience that I look around and I just feel home or loved, and knowing that there would not be that I would do anything for anybody in this room, and I think they would do the same for me. It's a feeling of great acceptance and for who we are and who I am. I don't know, I think it's the reason being here is so super important to me.
People who move away from time to time have expressed that they never could find an Oakland. They couldn't find anything that, you know.
I've heard that from a number of people as I talked about
Yeah.
what's important about this place.
We are unique. We are unique.
One of the things that I feel that God brings to me is, in my feeling of God, is when I look around at the diversity of the people, I feel I'm a part of the world. Not just part of Oakland's, but a part of the world because of the diversity we have here. And, you know, I mean, when we first started, it was pretty much all white people. And
In the
now we
60s.
have a mixture of people from different countries and, you know,
Different background.
different backgrounds and stuff that I feel that that's sort of what we wanted when we first started the church, was a diversity, you know, that we weren't only just a group of white people sitting around worshiping a Jesus that's supposed to be representing everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's where I feel that
Well, and the diversity
God-
of
God-
ages too.
God is here with me, with all the people that are here.
The world was like that in the 60s, and you know, I think we were ahead of the evolution. Where, you know,
Well, we were all young at that time, and the leadership was young. I mean,
Okay.
the elders of the church, and
we're not elder.
they were in their 30s. The old folks were in their 30s. I mean, it was different then. We are a little microorganism of what the world should be.
Exactly.
You know, if we could just take Oakland's and blow it up so it goes around the world. And we're not perfect. I don't, you know, I sometimes say unkind things about certain people in politics. I'm not going to say who or anything, but we're not perfect.
But we're darn close.
I see, now here's my little smugness, is when I sit and look around Oakland's, I think, you know, God would be proud. And that's probably not the right thought to have, but,
It's okay,
but
it's
I
yours.
do
Own it.
feel that this is the way, I think that he pictured his world. But as I said,
The world.
the world, his or her, their world.
You got it.
There you go. I think we're ready for a picture.
Oh gosh, got a prep.
Got to prep.
We drove by Frostburg.